I've got a vision, y'all. I have got a vision, and it is all thanks to this poem, this beautiful poem that I believe is written by someone named Chelan Harkin. Never heard, don't even know if it's a man or a woman, but I believe by this poem, they feel like a feminine energy. I don't know, just putting that out there. Anyways, when I read this poem, it just touched my soul so, so deeply. But to me, when I read this poem, something so raw and ancient resonated in my bones. It felt like something was waking up inside of me. I wanted to tell that story visually. I was so overcome with something so beautiful that I was like, you know what? How can I tell the visual story of how this poem made me feel, what I feel like it activated in my bones? To me, when I read this poem, it felt like a nighttime ritual. It felt like dancing freely under the moon. It looks to me like wild hair with flowers caught in the knots, bare feet getting dirty in the mud, running around in an open field. It felt like a silk sleep dress slipping off of one shoulder, desire draped like silk on the entire world that I have created to commune with my version of God, a reclamation of divine interaction. It felt so resonant with the way that I have personally, in my own journey, come to understand my relationship with with the divine, with my own personal divinity. A connection that I have found in candle work, in talking to the trees and talking to the moon, and in tarot cards, and in connecting with nature so deeply, as it gives me the opportunity to realize that nothing is separate from me, and to me that feels like God. So I put myself in this world that I feel and envisioned, and I explored for a while. Who lives here? What does this world feel like? What does it look like? I'm reading my notes. Give me a second. What is the emotional story? What is the emotional story behind her and this environment that I have discovered? And I discovered myself. I know, in true artist fashion, but I discovered myself, a woman who is actively reclaiming her relationship with the divine, is a woman who has found her spiritual communion in nature, in things that otherwise would have never been explored without an openness, a rawness, a resonance. This embodiment to me felt like it belonged in a natural habitat. It felt like it belonged in a gorgeous open field near a body of water, near a river that glistens in the moonlight, dusk settling around everything in its beauty. Tall grass and trees waving with the ancient dance. To me, it felt like I see visual motifs of candlelight, of wet soil, an altar to self that is floating on the water's edge. Soft and silky, seductive fabric. I would love it if it was in like a deep, rich navy color, almost as if you're immersing yourself into the environment. But on the other hand, I also wouldn't mind if it was a gorgeous, reflective, more luminescent color, almost as a contrast to the ever-growing darkness of the environment, the way that dusk slowly settles. I would love, it'd be beautiful to visualize some sort of contrast in that as well. So I'm open in that styling department as long as the fabric itself, the silhouette, and the movement of the piece communicates this character that, yes, is me, but is also what I feel like the representation of any woman, any being that has reclaimed their own relationship with God and has defined that term for themselves. For me, it looks like this nighttime ritual. I wanted to work almost entirely with natural light, almost no light at all. I wanted it to be very much like the actual lived experience of watching dusk settle on everything around me. I wanted to use very little artificial light, if any at all, excuse me, if any at all, except for a very specific photography shot that I wanted to get, because I do want to tell this story not just as a cinematic, that's the word, not just as a cinematic experience, not just as a film visualizing this ritual, but also as a photographic essence. I wanted to capture it also in some still frame, just the energy behind it. So I had some photography shots in mind where I do want to use one very strategic backlit spotlight, And that's the only light that I want to use. I want to otherwise rely entirely on the natural light around me, on the shadows, on the silhouettes in the darkness, and then, of course, on the candlelight. I feel like that creates a very intimate relationship. To capture my actual internal experience, I knew that I wanted the camera to fluctuate in between more intimate, close range shots with slightly off the center angles, movement that follows my flow. Give me a second. I want the camera to be still when it's communicating my stillness. And then I also want it to be, movement and kind of a blurry, very lifelike motion when I am in movement. I want the camera to mirror my action. I want it to be the witness to my experience. Throughout this entire experience, I don't want to interact with the camera at all. It is just that, a witness. I want the lens to be echoing my process. I think the wider shots will be important in communicating the relationship that I have developed with my environment, the way that it has started to reciprocate my energy. The relationship between me and the nature that surrounds me is really, really key, I feel like, in telling this story. So I feel like those wider shots will do a really good job of really defining the way that this connection to this poem is too. Those wider shots, the strategic angles, they will do so much of that relational storytelling. I picture myself wearing like a long, silky slip dress, maybe with a duster or a robe over my shoulder, almost like I've hopped out of bed and ran into the night's call. Almost like a seductive casualness to it. Of course, barefoot. That is key in it all. We can't be wild and untamed if we're not barefoot. With my wild, naturally curly hair, I want baby's breath to be placed in the curls as if I rolled around and become a part of the environment itself. I feel like the makeup needs to be natural too. The intensity of the eyes enhanced a little bit, maybe a little on the lips, a little rosiness on the cheeks, but otherwise just natural glowing skin, as if you were just running through a field. Your makeup would not be perfect if you were out there just running la-di-da whimsical in an open field. Would it? No, it would not. There is no full beat for this situation. This is natural and intentional. I want the story to carry us through this journey, this emotional journey of me, of the woman, of the character that is embodying this energy from invitation into ritual, into acceptance. I want this final hero shot to be almost like a baptism in this new relationship where I am falling into this water, a symbolic cleansing and purification ritual. Once I knew how this world wanted to feel and how it wanted to be seen, I knew I needed to put together a deck, a mood board, an entire creative deck, so every single tiny detail of this shoot is laid out. Because here's the thing, okay? Shoot day, we need to be easy peasy. Shoot day, we need to arrive on scene and boom, 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 knock those bitches out, right? So creative decks, I love a creative deck. They're also so much fun to make. I love doing that. So I start first with a little bit of a mood board. I start first with images that kind of reference the poem themselves, the feeling of the poem. They don't have to be necessarily exact references to shots that I want to imitate, that I want to utilize in the storytelling, like this. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I want to put together other visual motifs that I feel like defined elements of the story, like a two-winged dragonfly for its incredible symbolic relationship with transformation, as well as the candle motifs that I already mentioned. And then, of course, the poem itself as a reminder that this is ultimately telling that story the way that that story made me feel. After I put together the feeling in this mood board, then I get really detailed with lighting and colorization so that I can communicate to my incredible cinematographer slash musician slash filmmaker, artistic partner, collaboration girlfriend, whom I love dearly and boss around all the time, so I can be really clear with her. Okay, so I have the lighting, the colorization, examples of some of the angles, and then I go into my storyboard, actually telling the story. This part is important for a lot of reasons. For me, it is also the ease of editing. When I do my storyboard, I literally tell it, obviously, through its entire story. From shot to shot, I include a little note on the bottom of it with, very basic examples of the camera angles and what the camera is doing, what I am doing as the model. And then after I go through that entire visual storytelling, with as many detailed references as I can. Sometimes I can't find a specific reference image to communicate the actual angle or placement or whatever that I'm trying to do. So I get the closest thing that I can, and then I just feel what happens in the moment. But from there, it makes it easier to make a shot list. And for me, the shot list is also made in shot order. So I like to do the shot list as also the shot order of how we're going to be filming, because obviously for this concept, I'm getting wet. We're getting a little wet. We're getting a little dirty at some point. Don't have a dirty mind. But we will be immersing ourselves in water. So that will have to be shot last, naturally, because the rest of it won't flow. So when we're doing the shot order, we're doing, almost exactly as the story is going to be told. And that makes it easier, right? Especially when you are communicating to a team. For me, it's a team of me and my lovely girlfriend. But obviously, with bigger teams, you need to be specific with your camera, everything, every tiny little detail laid out so that the day of, everybody can go back to these references and just know what they're doing. Now, once all that shit is laid out to my organized and detailed liking, and the idea is properly expressed on the proverbial paper, it was time to embody and execute. It is time to embody and execute the idea. There are a few little things that I need to take care of first. There was some shopping that I need to do. Again, I'm going to take you through the vlog. I'm going to take you through the actual creation process before we come back here and commune and analyze and talk about our experience. But we did need to do some thrifting. We needed to, again, pray to our thrift gods that they're on our side for finding the perfect piece to communicate the energy. And then there was a few little tiny things. We're talking budget less than $50, bro. Like, you don't need a lot to visually communicate, especially if you are lucky like me and have a lovely partner, artistic girlfriend whom I love. So let's take this baby on the road. Let's give this idea a chance to actually exist in real life, shall we? All right, we have arrived at our first pit stop. We just need a few things, and I already put the aisles that the items are in because I am trying to get in and get out, bitch. All right, first items have been secured. We've got our candles, our tea light, our glue. Now, come with me to see if the thrift gods are going to be on our side today. As you know, we are looking for a very specific vision. And lucky for me, there's a thrift store in the same parking lot as Walmart, so I don't even have to go far. All right, in case we forgot what we are looking for, because I kind of have, I'm getting distracted, as I usually do in a thrift store. We want something soft and silky, preferably in like a navy blue or something rich. But I'd be okay going with white too and allowing it to be a contrast color, so we're gonna see. We're gonna let the thrift gods pick for us. Okay, option one, and this one is probably the closest to what I was trying to go for, especially if I can find like a little shawl to have over my shoulders. This might be the closest one we've got. All right, this one is not long and whimsical, unfortunately, but it is very witchy. This one is probably the closest to something I would wear in my own closet. Maybe that's why I feel called to it. This one surprised me. All right, option three. Hopefully you can see it. The lighting sucks ass in this dressing room. But this is a brown number. Can you see it? Can you see it? Let me tilt you down. Hold on. It's a little longer, which I like. I don't know. It's just not my favorite. And I'm like super excited for this concept, so I don't want to settle. But I also know that the clothes are not the most important part. The purpose of this concept is not the clothes. So as long as it fits her enough, the woman that I'm embodying for this concept, then we're going to have to call it good enough. All right, let's try somewhere else because they were just not giving what I needed them to give. So I found the perfect dress, but it's a size 5XL. Do you see these boobs? I think it would require me having to take them out entirely and redoing the dress almost in its fullness, which would be a lot of work. Okay, this is another one that's like almost perfect. I actually kind of love the idea of a silky blue. I feel like that's gorgeous. Except I don't even know how this was supposed to have been held up, so it would require doing a little designing and altering. So it's really about whether I feel like doing that. Ooh, that twirl effect is nice. But right now it's looking like we've got 3 dresses that I would need to do something with to make them satisfactory. and little to no other options. So I guess we're getting creative. All right, hi. We made it home, and after a lot of deliberation, a lot of painstaking deliberation in a Goodwill aisle, I did in fact make my selection. And it is one of the ones I tried on for you. Are you ready for the reveal? Drum roll, please. Ta-da! I decided on the blue one, and I'm very glad that I did, because remember the issues that we were having in the dressing room where it literally wouldn't stay up? Turns out it was not the problem that I feared that it was. These little drawstrings, they were just caught. They were just trapped in the fabric. Easy little peasy little fix. Now, this color, it does fit with our color theme, but it was not the one that I envisioned for the outfit. But this is why sometimes you do need to trust the thrift and creative gods. And don't be super rigid with your initial vision, because sometimes it turns out even better. Like this color and this fabric is going to reflect so beautifully in the concept. The contrast, oh my God, I'm so excited. All right, we are here exploring location so we can come up with a game plan. So day of, we are not doing as much. We know exactly where we are shooting what and in what order and where and what it looks like and all the good things. This is fucking perfect though, huh?
And the only way you get to the water is there now. It used to be right here. Now you can't.
That's okay. I was planning on doing more of the other filming here, especially that tree over there and like that whole wall and that, because I'm gonna be frolicking in the fields. And then this little thing over here is cool as fuck too. We've got a lot to work with, bitch. This is so witchy to me. Fucking imagine I'm like walking on this though. I don't fall. La-di-da-di-da-da. That's a fairy hole. Do not disturb.
Tree? Who the fuck was trying to cut you down, huh?
Right.
Tell me.
Tell me.
Because they made slashes in you. I don't appreciate it.
I don't appreciate that. Not even a nan bit. Look at the little dragonfly. I like these little steps here too. See, this is why location scouting is so important before you actually do the shoot. And also before I even really finish my storyboard and like shot list and shit. Because now that I'm here and actually exploring the location, there's like 3 or 4 more shots that I want to add just because I want to play around with the actual environment. Shanna period. So I think I've got a good game plan. I'm going to go explore where I get into the water, which I'm a little nervous about, I'm not going to lie, because this lake is man-made and I just don't really like man-made things. And I don't really like water that I can't see in, but we do it for the art. We do it for the art. We made our first magical discovery.
What's
That's
that?
so pretty.
It is a nice one, isn't it?
You should keep that one for sure.
I'll keep it.
All right, so that is where I'll be entering the water, but there are men currently blocking it. So we're just gonna envision. All packed up and prettyified. We're about to head to the location. It is almost the perfect time. Hopefully it's not too hot and we don't have a replay of last photo shoot where I was just drenched in sweat the whole time. Isn't she beaut? My rock star.
My beautiful golden little fairy.
That's me.
Look at the glare already.
Ooh.
Oh, it's fogging again.
Please, but the fog actually looks
Man.
good though.
I gotta get you beauty right now. Do a little spin for me. Jesus fuck.
Dang.
What the fuck was that?
It was a success. It was a success. I always use and abuse her.
Yep.
All right, we are back. Did you enjoy being taken along the process? I love bringing you guys along in my process. It's so much fun to share with you the experience of what happens behind the scenes when I have an idea and I boss the people around me to do my ideas with me. But I had a lot of fun with this one. I feel like this particular experience, it was really important to me that I actually feel and embody the energy the way that it feels. I feel like when you are a muse, when you are a model, when you are the face behind an idea, obviously I didn't source outside talent. Maybe I'll do that for some future ideas. But for this one, I did not. I was my outside talent. We wear many creative hats over here. Anyways, when you are the model, when you are the muse, it's important that you really feel the essence of that. And I wanted to make sure that I was able to do that. So I feel like I was. I still sometimes get shy when I'm in front of the camera. I'm a little bit more confident and comfortable bossing people around, but I do enjoy being the embodiment of my own ideas when I can. It stretches me in my comfort zone in that way. I also got ate the fuck up. I have like 14 ant bites on my right foot right now that are itching like a motherfucker, bro. Like, we're talking blisters. Like, they're blistering up on my feet. Yeah. But that's what we do. That is what we do for art. I'm also still washing the lake water smell out of my hair. But again, it was necessary for the story, even if it was just a very simple, tiny little part of it. That baptism, that ceremony of self. Um, Things that I learned, because I want to come back after my shoots and sit here and chit chat about things that I've learned, things that I want to do moving forward. Um, you know what? Should I give you a sneak peek? Should I show you first, or should we talk about it first? Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to let you see it first. I think I'm going to give you the final result first, and then we can come back and creatively analyze. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. All right, drum roll, please. Results are in. Okay, now we should creatively analyze. Honestly, I'm really, really satisfied with how this one went. I feel like so much about the way that the process was filmed, the angles, and all of the details that went into executing it were meant to be such a natural, fluid movement. So I feel like it was very much something that was discovered in the process. There were like one or two shots that I actually forgot to get. So maybe be better at actually looking at the shot list that I put together, because sometimes I just be in there and we just be going with the motions. We just be doing and boom, 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 and having fun with it. And then I'm like, oh shit, there were two shots that I really wanted to get. So maybe it worked out for the better. Maybe they weren't necessary. But I would say that's maybe one thing that I learned is I need to be better at really actually referencing the things that I put together and spend hours curating before we ever shoot. Other than that, I would say I'm pretty damn satisfied. I'm pretty damn satisfied. Anyways, friends, I have a few more ideas that I am cooking up in my brain. My birthday's in a few weeks, and I figured the best way to celebrate for me was going to be putting together this incredible visual story that I'm very excited to share with you. So that is going to be probably the next big project, but I'll see you soon. I come back and we chat about all the things. So I'll see you soon. Until then, I'm going to give you one more time to look at the video because I'm obsessed with it. So, la di da.